Point like that, that's framing. That's just another form of storytelling. Narrative competence, not confidence. All right, I think we got everybody back now. I'm going to bring up a guy I've been working with in the Pathfinders for about 6 months now, and he's one of the guys that he's a quiet leader. He's always in the mix. He's always there. You know, every time you look around, Tony's there. He's working with guys. He's talking to guys. He's a quiet leader, right? Leads by example. You know, great family man, great husband. He's just one of those dudes you just want in the room all the time. He brings off both the confidence and the competence. And he always makes you, like, if you're talking to him, like you're the most important dude in the conversation. That's just how he is. Like, genuine and authentic, right? But he's run some miles, you know, and to get where he's got today, you know, a lot of people don't know the backstory that he took to get there, you know, and it's just working with him and seeing what he's went through and overcome to do it, and even getting up in front of people and telling a story, it's nothing short of a miracle. So without any further ado, please welcome Tony Stagg.
So I let the call go to voicemail. I'd opened my eyes up just long enough to look down and see that it was my Uncle Sam calling. You know, he was the guy that I looked to as a father. But the light from the screen was hurting my eyes, and because the night before I'd been out doing something that I told myself I wasn't going to be doing again. I was out drinking, doing things way too late, doing things that for I can't remember how long I told myself that I was going to stop. And then I did something that I had grown accustomed to as well, and I ran from that call and threw it down on the floor again, crashed back down into this ugly red velvet couch that I was sleeping on at my buddy's house, and I ran. You know, that was something that I hadn't done all my life. You know, for the longest time I had this dream to play Major League Baseball, and I was going after it. You know, all through high school, man, I worked for it. I worked towards it. College, I'm there, and I'm the first guy on the field. I'm the last guy to leave. Hands hurting from being in the cage too long. And I had worked hard, you know, and here I was, my junior year. I'm coming in to play on scholarship, Division I school. You know, the guy before me drafted. I'm the guy that the coaches thought was going to be the one to come in, fill that spot, not skip a beat, right? Had the bald head, big goatee. You know, I'm this 6'3", 200 pound, just left-handed hitting stud. You know, that's who I was, right? Well, that's who I thought I was, right? Because along the way, I started to let easy sneak into my life, and that guy was weak, struggling on the inside. Look tough on the outside, that's what I wanted, right? Weak on the inside. And I ran. I had allowed easy to come in, you know, because it was easier to blame it on someone else, right? I had my someone, you know, I had that girl who, when she was around, man, I couldn't do anything wrong, right? Out on the field, man, I'm making every play, hitting the ball hard, couldn't do anything wrong, right? But when she wasn't there, couldn't do anything right. She was never there. Her fault, right? That's easy. It was easier to find my worth bottom of the bottle, end of the joint, right? Picture this. I'd walk into the bathroom beginning of the night, get in front of the mirror, and I'd look at myself right square in the eyes, and I'd be like, man, you're nothing. No talent. You don't belong here. They're gonna figure it out, man. What are you doing? Kind of pep talk that you want to give yourself, right? Well, open that first beer, and man, I'd be pounding them down, and pretty soon I found myself back in that bathroom again, right? All right. Except this time, I get in front of that mirror. Man, good. Yeah, you can do this. Those girls out there, man, they want you. You are the man. Much easier to do it that way, right? More I drank, bigger, stronger I got. And that's what I did. I chased easy. Well, end of the season, I found myself academically ineligible. Coach basically said, hey, you can stay here, can't play next year, can't promise you a spot the following year. That's if you get your act together and go to class. So I did what I always did, right? I ran away from it. Didn't want to face the battle that next year had in store. Ran back to where easy was, right? Did that for so long, man. So long that pretty soon I didn't even recognize the guy that I was looking at in the mirror. Guy that turned into someone who actually had to run and hide because some dude was looking for me with a gun because I'd slept with his wife, right? That wasn't me. I didn't grow up to be an adulterer, right? That wasn't who I was supposed to be. I was supposed to be this baseball player, right? That's who I was. So yeah, when I looked at the phone, of course I wanted to run, right? But this time, it was different. You see, my Uncle Sam, like I said, he was like a dad to me, So I couldn't run. I owed it to him to call him back. So when I did, got on the phone and he said, yeah man, I was sitting out in the car earlier this morning. It was an late October day. He's up in Minnesota, I'm down in Florida, and said, I was just sitting there and I was thinking about Gary. And Gary was a family friend who 3 days earlier found dead next to the Mississippi River up there in Minnesota. And very similar to me, all the talent in the world, couldn't face the demons and the struggles that were in his life, and alcohol ended up taking his life. And my uncle had grown a good friendship with him. Because for a while, Gary was sober, man. He was the best guy in the world. World-class pianist, world-class organist. He'd play, not the organ, but the accordion. Accordion, thank you. All the talent in the world. He had these demons inside of him that he couldn't run from, and it ended his life right there on the banks of Mississippi. And my uncle said, yeah, I was thinking about Gary, and while I was sitting here, all of a sudden, this light came through the clouds, and I had this feeling that I needed to give you a call. That's what he did. I let it go to voicemail, right? And he told me that, and I said, well, what's up, man? He's like, three simple words, like, you need to take a look at your drinking. More than three, but I'll get there, right? But when he said that, before the period hit the end of that sentence, man, I don't know if any of you have had that feeling of the weight of the world being lifted up off of your shoulders. It happened right there at that moment. And I knew this time something was different. I knew this time that I was going to make some changes. Because he was a man that I trusted. And when he said it, I knew that there was something up. And for the first time in my life, I decided not to run. I decided to face what was in front of me. Got on the computer, punched in AA, right? I'm an alcoholic, right? So you're gonna do AA, all right, okay. Well, I'll read the big book and see what happens here. Go through it, man, read 12 steps, I'm like, all right, I can do this by myself, right? Get to the back of the book, story after story of people who went through AA, story after story of people saying, I tried to do it myself, and I failed. I tried to do it myself, and I failed. All right, okay, I get it. I'm gonna go to that night I show up at the wrong place. Early enough because I'm like, yep, I'm excited. I'm gonna make a change, right? But old Tony was trying to talk me out of doing it, trying to tell me to run. Well, he went to the wrong place. Might as well. You can't go late. Can't go late. You're not gonna do that, right? But I did. I went, and I'm walking up to the meeting. When you're walking somewhere, it doesn't feel like you got any knees. Get into the room, man, and I'm like, shaking. Go back to the room, like, all right, not gonna say anything. Just here to listen and see what everybody has to say and see if this is for me. Story after story, people introducing themselves. Gets back to me, and for the first time in my life, I said some words out loud that I never thought that I was going to say, and I said, I'm telling you, and I'm an alcoholic. And I shared a little bit about what had just happened with my uncle. And all of a sudden, this long-haired hillbilly sitting up in front of me, he turns around, he's got this big old grin on his face, missing his 2 front teeth. He's going, you're in the right place, you just keep coming back now, right? I'm like, what the heck is this? I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, this guy's freaking me out. But I heard, keep coming back. That's all I needed to hear. And that's what I did. And I started showing up. You see, for the longest time, I thought playing Major League Baseball was what I was supposed to do. That was my dream. And now I saw that I had this other game that I had to play, right? A much bigger game. And it was in front of me. But that grind started showing up, right? That hillbilly missing his 2 front teeth, his name was Phil, and he became my sponsor. And he told me 90 meetings in 90 days. You show up 90 days in a row, 90 different meetings. I'm going to be there. You better be there. I was there. And it was just like back in the day, man, when I was showing up to that ball field, taking them cuts, man. Except this time I wasn't preparing my body. I was starting to get this right. And this was so far off that I dove into it, and man, like meeting after meeting, a book here, meeting someone new, another meeting, getting tested in life, passing that test, meeting after meeting. Read a book, get tested in life, pass that test. The grind, man, it's like, found something that was worth fighting for, right? It was my life. You know, I got to the point where it was like, if I go back to drinking, I'm dead. It was life or death. And there might be something happening in your life. You know, we have those dreams that we all start out as a kid. That's where I'm going, that's what I'm gonna be, right? I'm gonna be that ball player. I'm gonna hit that home run in Game 7. That was me, man. Throwing rocks up, little country town in Minnesota, till the sun went down. That was me. But it took my eyes off. You might have that dream where you're not sure if you can get to it. You know, along the way, doubt comes in, right? I didn't think that all of a sudden I couldn't be that ball player because I wasn't this or I wasn't that. We all have a dream. There's something that we're working towards, right? But in front of us, there's that ladder. In front of us, top of that ladder, we know there's a battle that we're going to face, right? When we leave here, there's going to be that battle eventually, at some point in our life. If the dream's big enough, man, there's going to be a lot of battles that we're going to have to face. I thought that my dream to play baseball was the biggest dream that I was going to work towards. Now I found that getting guys focused on that dream ahead of them, focused on the fact that they can work through anything that they have to face. Because if I could go from thinking that I needed a beer in my hand to survive, I needed that to be this. I needed that beer to be that. If I could go from being I need this to no, I don't, and I know I'm going to get there. If I can go from there, I know any of you guys can get to there. And the biggest game that you have to get into is the one that's right in front of you. I found out that you got to work to get back into that game. I got back into my game, and I know that if you're ready, climb that ladder, get some guys behind you, and be ready to face that battle. Find that team that you need. You know, the three things that I started out early on was getting gut honest, man. I had to get honest with myself, right? I had to hear that I was an alcoholic. I had to get honest. Where do you have to get honest in your life? Two, I had to find how to fix that, right? What does fixing that problem look like? Is it going to meetings? Is it finding a mentor? Is it getting a band of brothers around you to help you through it? And three, man, you just don't stop. Because I still have a battle, man. I have a battle to be better than I was yesterday, right? That's the battle I face every day. Some days old Tony tries to sneak in and do it the easy way. But with guys like you around, with the things that I've learned along the way, yeah, I wanted to be a husband. You know, I saw my friends all had their wife and their kids. I wanted that, but I didn't want to be drunk, cheating Tony in that relationship. One day, this curly-haired girl shows up. Now she's my wife, right? 2 kids, each day learning how to be a better dad, each day learning how to be a better husband, communicate with my wife. And I wanted to be that leader that others were willing to follow, willing to climb that ladder, knowing that there's a battle in front of them. I got back into my game. Question is, are you guys willing to get back into